Hola, hola. Soy Señorita Spanish, and today we're going to be diving into the CSEC Spanish Contextual Dialogue. We'll be looking at two past paper questions in particular 2022 and 2024, January of this year. So let's get right into it. You have got a chance to interview a well known cricketer. Write the dialogue between the two of you, giving his or her responses. Responses to all of the cues listed below must be included in the completed dialogue. How he or she started his or her career, the advantages and disadvantages of his or her career, some upcoming events he or she is involved in, opportunities he or she has for leisure activities while abroad, an invitation to visit your school soon. And you're to complete the dialogue with your responses. Now, the biggest tip that I can give for dialogue writing is to read the blank dialogue and get an understanding of the conversation. And before you insert each of your responses, read what comes before and what comes afterwards. At the end, you go back and check if you had included everything that is required and stated in the instructions. Okay, let's get going. I already filled out the answers so that we can move quickly. So, the first thing that a person had said was, ¿Me puede decir cómo comenzó su carrera como jugador de cricket? Can you tell me how you began your career as a player of cricket? And before I answered, I read what came next. Fantástico. Y me imagino que usted ha viajado a muchos países durante su carrera. Fantastic. And I imagine that you have traveled to a lot of countries during your career. So this is where I simply explain how I started playing cricket. Now, you are not to feel constricted by the dialogue. Feel free to express yourself. This is not like the situations where you were restricted to one sentence. You can express yourself in multiple sentences, use transitional words, use expressions and phrases to tie your thoughts together. So, since it was a question, I said, claro que sí, of course. Well, as a young person, as a youth, I used to play cricket with my father and my cousins, and since then I developed an interest in the sport. The rest was history. I played with the team of my high school, of my university, and now with the national team. There's an accent missing from Huge. The following response says, okay, so I imagine that you have traveled to a lot of countries during your career. Let's look at what comes next before we answer. So many countries, so that means that we would have mentioned a number of countries to get this response, right? So let's continue. So I responded by saying, por supuesto, of course. I have traveled to a lot of countries in Europe consisting of England, France, Greece, Spain, and Russia. Also, I have been to Cuba, Belize, Brazil, Jamaica, and many more countries in the Caribbean. As you can see, my countries are in Spanish. So you're not to write the countries in their English forms. This is a Spanish exam. Okay, so that elicits this answer. So many countries. And apart from traveling across the world, what more or what else do you like about your career? So I said, sí, yes. And that's missing an accent right there. It's a dream. Es un sueño. Well, I also love meeting new people, especially my fans. Good? That sounds very exciting, but there are also disadvantages, right? Now, before I answer, remember you read what comes before and what comes afterwards. So let's look at what comes afterwards. I imagine that you miss your family if you spend so much time away from them. So therefore, you would have mentioned that the disadvantage is missing your family. Are you getting it? There's something, it's basically like you're given a script and you are to fall into the scene. Good? So you can't put up here that, oh, there are no disadvantages when it simply says it down here. Or you're going to put another disadvantage from the one that's here. So we're playing with that. we're given that situation and we're going to run with it. So I said, claro, sure, of course. The worst thing, lo peor, the worst thing is that I cannot see my family frequently. We have a good relationship, but because of distance and the frequent trips, we don't talk very much. So he goes on to say, I imagine that you miss your family if you spend so much time away from them. Now, before I answer, let's look at what comes next. Thank God for WhatsApp and FaceTime. So that means that you would have said, okay, yes, I miss them, but we talk. And we would have mentioned these two social media platforms. So we're going to use this in our answer here. Okay, let's go. Ah, see. So this is missing an accent again. Remember, if you're missing the accent from the word see, which means yes, it turns it into the word if. So the accents are very important. Don't be like me. Sometimes on this particular platform, it's difficult for me to insert my accents. But I said, I see. Oh, yes. How unfortunate for me. But we keep in contact across social media. We chat on WhatsApp every day and on FaceTime every night before I go to bed. So that follows up properly now when he says thank God for WhatsApp and FaceTime. Tell me, what matches does your team have in the future? Once again, we're reading what comes next. We're not going to say, oh, we do have any matches, or we have a match in Peru, when it doesn't say anything about Peru. Okay, so the following response says, India and Australia, how exciting, right? So we would have mentioned that our next matches are in India and Australia. So we're going to play on this. Let's go. We are going to play in India this weekend, and we will have 3 matches in Australia next month. So I use the present future tense and then the future tense. So he says, India and Australia, how exciting. For how long or for how much time are you going to be in these countries? Let's see if anything that comes next would be necessary for our response here. Not really. So we can state an answer freely. So yes, I have never traveled to those countries, so I'm very excited. This should be, I'm very excited. Emocionante is exciting, while emocionado is excited. So I'm very excited. So because he said how exciting, right? I just responded to that part first. Now I'm going to respond to this part. We are going to spend 3 days in India, but we will be in Australia for 2 weeks. See? Bueno. Now he says, when you are in those countries, do you have the opportunity to travel, to do tourism, to do tourist activities? And of course, we're looking at what is next so that it can, aid our response here, and so that we can have cohesion and a good flow. He says, how good that although you don't have a lot of free time, you can visit tourist sites or some tourist sites. So we're going to state here that really and truly we don't have a lot of time to travel and to explore, but still I might get a chance to do this and that here and there. Okay, so let's go. Pues, which is well, generally I don't have a lot of free time to explore the countries, but sometimes I have the opportunity to visit some places of interest like the museums or a beach. So now this follows up nicely. A final question. Can you visit my school to chat a little bit with our cricket team? Now we're not going to say, oh yes, of course, because we need to see what comes next, and you're getting the gist, right? Now he says here, que pena. That means what a shame. So that therefore you're rejecting the invitation. You can't make it. Now he says, what a shame, but what you have to do is more important. Thank you for the interview. So we're just going to explain here that unfortunately we can't make it. We have other stuff to do. So I said, I am sorry, but unfortunately I cannot visit your school because I'm very busy at the moment, so I will not be available. And that's the end of this dialogue. You see how easy that was? So just to recap, this was the dialogue from 2022. And yeah, it was good. Now we're going to look at another dialogue. This one is from 2023, January's exam. And it reads, you and your mother are discussing an upcoming birthday party you have been invited to attend over the weekend. You discuss what has to be done before you can attend, including homework and gift buying. Responses to all of the cues must be included in the completed dialogue. Excitement to go to the birthday party with your friends, information about the party, discussion about finishing your homework, discussion on what you will wear and what gift you will buy, plans to go shopping for a gift. I forgot to mention before that at the end, you need to go back to the instructions and ensure that you have inserted every required detail. Because although sometimes you're adding additional information, if at the end of the day you do not have what was required, you will be penalized. Now, for the mark scheme for CSEC, 16 to 20 is rated as an excellent, right? And that means that you would have covered all cues, but maybe you made a mistake here and there. Now, if it is that you did not include one of the cues, it could be a very small detail. Your marking will begin at 15 or 16, right? That's where it will begin. Not to mention, we have not yet put into play the grammatical errors, spelling, and any other thing. So we want to ensure, first and foremost, that we have included everything. Try your best to answer the questions. Try your best to answer each part. Okay? Now let's get right into it. Now, you would know from now that we have to read through the entire dialogue. So let's imagine that this is blank. You're going to go ahead and read through and get an idea of what the passage, the dialogue is about, and where you would put each cue. Now, you're going to start by reading what comes before and after. Now, as you can see here, it's up to us to begin the conversation. But when in doubt, you check the instructions. It says you are to express excitement to go to the birthday party with your friends. And then we can also read ahead to see what we can use here to influence what we write. So he says, the mom says, I can understand how excited you are. And of course you can go. That means that you're expressing your excitement and you're also asking if you can go. Do you see that? Do you see how important it is to read ahead? Please do not skip this step. Anna is a very good friend of yours from many years ago. When is the celebration? So you answer this question here, but this part here, we're going to use it to develop our answer up here. So I started by saying, Mamá, ¿puedes imaginar que he estado invitada a la fiesta del año? ¡Qué divertido! Estoy muy emocionada. Pero claro que sí, necesito tu permiso. ¿Puedo ir a la fiesta de Ana con mis amigos, por favor? So, keeping with the instructions, I would have expressed my excitement, right? Let's look at it. Mom or mommy, can you imagine that I have been invited to the party of the year? How fun! I am very excited. But of course, I need your permission. Can I go to Anna's party with my friends, please? Of which your mother says, I can understand how excited you are. And sure, you can go. Anna is your good friend. When is the celebration? So we're reading here and we're also looking at what comes next to influence or answer. Please note that therefore, since she asked when is the celebration right here, we're not going to go ahead and put the dates up here. We're going to save it for down here. Now the mom is going to follow up by saying, perfect. That's not a school day and you don't have another engagement, right? So therefore, the day that you're going to express is probably a weekend. Well, it will be a weekend because if it's not a weekday, it's a weekend. All right, so it will be the future tense this Saturday at 6 p.m. That's a perfect day, right? And she says, perfect. So it follows up nicely. You see how important it is to read ahead. Now, the next question is, where will it take place? Tener lugar is to take place, and this is in the future tense. Before we answer, what do? Look at what comes next. So she said, really? De veras? I thought that it would be at her house. So you see, what if you did not read ahead and then you did not understand what's going on and you stated, for example, oh, it's going to be at her house, then it will not have followed properly. Do you see that? So it's not going to be held at her house. So we can go ahead and choose a place of our liking. So I said, Mama, va a ser una fiesta muy elegante. It's going to be a very elegant party. It will take place at the Pegasus Hotel, beside the pool there. How fantastic, right? I cannot wait. While you're answering your questions, you're also inserting nice little phrases and expressions and nice little ways to add to the conversation. So the mom responded and said, really? I thought it would be at our house. What homework do you have for the following week? So let's read ahead. My love, you already know that if you don't complete them, you will not attend. So we're using this to help us. So we're going to be stating that we have different assignments to complete. Therefore, of course, with a response like this, we can't now say, oh, I don't have any homework. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, let's take this opportunity to go back to the instructions to see what exactly we're to be doing as we go throughout. So we would have stated some information about the party, the when and the where, and now we're going to discuss finishing our homework. So let's go back to following the conversation. So I say, I know. Oh no. I have a lot to do. I have science homework and a lot of reading to do for literature. Also, I have a project. So you're just listing different things. I included more vocabulary. So I stated homework here. Then I inserted the word for reading. Then I inserted the word for project. You want to show off in the dialogue as much as you can and as much as you have. So she says, my love, you already know if you don't complete them, you will not be able to attend. How are you going to organize yourself in order to finish them on time? Let's look ahead. That's a good idea. It seems that you have everything organized. So you're going to now state your plan for finishing everything on time. So I say, don't worry, mom. No te preocupes, mamá. Tengo un plan. I have a plan. Remember that I have very good time management skills. So this is a nice phrase to learn. I am going to do a little each day. And tonight, I am going to finish the majority of the project. So you're just letting her know what your plan is. So she responded, okay, it seems like you have everything organized. What are you going to wear to the party? And what gift do you intend to give to Anna? Okay, now let's read the next line before we state, oh, I'm going to wear a pants and a shirt and I'm going to give her a Game Boy. Let's look at what the conversation actually suggests. So we have to buy you clothes to wear. So apparently you have nothing to wear. Do you see that? And I believe that buying her music is an excellent idea. So music, you're thinking along the lines of music for your gift for Anna. So let's go back up here and write our answer. Oh my God, I have nothing to wear. So ay Dios mío means oh my God. I have nothing to wear, but I intend to wear a short red dress. For Anna, she really likes music. So I plan to give her a ticket to a Beyonce concert. Therefore, that is how our mom responded. And then for our next line, we're going to look ahead. So tomorrow, after classes, we can go. So you might be seeing, why is there a question mark here? What do I put here? Remember, you read ahead for your ideas. You check the instructions for what's next. It's there to guide you. Okay, use it well. So tomorrow after classes, we can go. There at the mall, you will find everything that you need. So apparently here you're going to be asking her, "Oh, can we go shopping?" Right? Now, if you were in doubt, let's see what the instructions say. Plans to go shopping for a gift, right? So that's where we are. And we can also go ahead and tick off all of these because we have included them. Bueno, let's finish up. So here we're going to ask the question, can we go shopping? ¿Podemos ir de compras para un regalo más? Can we go shopping for another gift or one more gift? And also, I will need to buy the dress and maybe some new shoes. What place do you recommend? So you can include anything as long as it aligns well with what's next said, okay? So tomorrow, after classes, we can go. So that follows up nicely. There at the mall, you will find all that you need. Okay, mommy, no, you realize that nothing comes next. This is the end. And we have finished all our cues. So let's just finish it nicely. Don't just say adios or a little one word. You can finish it however you would like. And remember, it's a conversation. So let's just use the language, right? Okay, mom, a million thanks for everything. I am very glad that you are such an understanding or supportive mother. Right? That's a nice way to end. This ends today's video. I hope it was very helpful and will be useful to you in your preparations for your exam. Gracias por mirar. Adios.